Well, after all of the hype, I finally got around to watching Chainsaw Man, and I binged it really quick. I was up late, and I was just on a cruise, which was pretty fun, and I was having my baby sleep to the waves, just sitting outside, and I ended up just binging the entire thing in pretty well one night. So I get the hype behind this thing. I get it. I do believe it is a tad overrated, but I did enjoy it. Today, we're going to be breaking down the entirety of Chainsaw Man, if there's anything that I liked, if there's anything that I didn't like, and this is a very interesting anime show, but I'm happy to have you here. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guide with my YouTube channel. So I've heard a lot about the show for a very long time, and I've been honestly pretty reluctant to watch it because I thought the idea of Chainsaw Man was stupid. Every single time I looked at it, it was this dude with a chainsaw coming out of his face and chainsaw arms. I thought it was dumb, and I was like, not my cup of tea. My brother ended up telling me that it was actually very, very good. And I've heard a lot of hype about it in general, so I decided to give it a chance. It's a very, very short season, and I wish that the show was actually a bit longer because I found it very interesting, okay? I'll start with the elephant in the room before I actually start breaking down the plot and me thinking that Chainsaw Man's stupid. I weirdly was okay with it. I think the way that they told the story, and they brought a lot of uniqueness to different battles and situations with having a bunch of devils in this world, and people can make contracts with them having different powers. While we went through it, for some reason, the Chainsaw Man just fit in. It just fit in. It didn't make sense at the beginning. I was like, I don't know. I don't know how I'm feeling about this. Merging with a chainsaw. I thought it was dumb, but it ended up working well. Other than that, the characters, they were great. I liked Denji. I was even okay, and I typically have problems with this, and I've been vocal about like my love-hate relationship with Fire Force in the past for this type of stuff, but you know when anime gets into the, oh my god, girl, oh my god, I'm doing everything for the girl, and maybe she'll like me one day. I was even okay with it in this scenario because the show didn't really take itself seriously, and we'll get into it a little bit more because it encapsulates like the mind of every 16-year-old boy, right? We all remember kind of being in that place. Other than that, it was really gory. The devils were awesome. The characters were awesome. I loved pretty well every single character interacting, and it sucks that we even lost a couple, but I thought the devils were very interesting. The artwork was absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you would call it animation in anime. Like, it is stunning. I love, and I can't really describe it. Like, the colors, it's a little bit like darker. Whatever they did, it worked, and I loved it. With that being said, though, let's get into the actual story. So we're introduced first to our main character named Denji, and he is a homeless 16-year-old boy who works as a devil hunter with his pet chainsaw devil. That's all he has. He has no home. He's hungry all the time. He has been left with a bunch of his father's debt, or his parents are dead. He's been left with a bunch of debt that he has to pay off, so he's murdering a bunch of devils. Long story short, he ended up getting tricked. And right away, we're seeing the gore. He just got completely dismembered and betrayed by somebody, which was the zombie devil, I believe it was. I was like, okay, starting off strong over here. But then it was actually really touching. And I personally have a very soft spot for animals. I have a very, very soft spot for dogs in general. So that kind of hit home where, you know, the dog was keeping him alive, and Denji, you have to show me that your dream's coming true. So the devil, instead of making I guess it is a contract, isn't it? But he fuses himself with Denji. Now he's able to heal himself. He comes out as the Chainsaw Man, rips everybody apart. And like I said, man, they did not hesitate on the gore. And that's what I like about it. I don't like when shows hesitate like that. But Denji's officially a devil. He goes crazy. He just absolutely murders everybody. He's still stuck in his devil form, though, until Makima comes up. And this is where we're introduced to I guess you could call it the primary love interest of the show. She comes in, she's part of the public devil hunters for safety, whatever they ended up calling it. They're protecting the public from the devils, and she offers to bring him in as long as he obeys her, or she said something along those lines like, you have to obey me, you have to do everything that I said. And I paused for a second because I was like, oh boy, it's going to be one of those, isn't it? Because the way that she phrased it, I don't remember what it was. It was something like, you have to obey me. I don't even think she said this, but it's like, oh, you have to be my good boy, Denji. She might have even said that. Like, it got a little perverted at times. And, dude, I started watching Chain Soldier a little while ago because I saw a bunch of ads for it, and I saw people hyped up about that online. And then I got into it, and I was like, oh my god, this is just a fetish show. This is just softcore adult content. And I stopped watching. I was like, no, is this going to be one of those types of things? But it wasn't, okay? So Denji, he's homeless. He's just happy to have a good home. He's happy to be fed. He's happy to be living the good life, as he said. So Denji gets fed. He is now going to be a devil hunter. He can use his powers, and for some reason, Makima's very interested in him, but we start to seem to learn why as time goes on. But we're also introduced to Aki, who is a really cool character in himself. Instead of working with Makima, and he was all excited to be with Makima because he's already just obsessed and in love with her because she's actually looking at him like he is a human being, and he is absolutely loving that. And I think it's important to note too that when we're talking about, I know there were critiques about Denji just being a horn dog, put yourself in the mind of your 16-year-old version of you who, if you were homeless, at what point in your life have you never touched a girl? Okay? Let's be honest, right? Remember being a kid? That is all that was on your mind 24/7. Let's be real. Let's be real. You would do anything. Anything. It comes with age. It comes with experience. Then you can actually control yourself, and you can be like, no, I see what's going on here. Not worth the touch. Okay? That type of stuff. But when you're a 16-year-old kid, I like when shows are a little bit realistic like that, and they didn't go over the top like, oh my god, Makima. You know, like, it wasn't the same with the anime shows. So for this one, I was okay with it. I liked Denji. He wasn't serious. He's like, hey, I'm eating good food. Plus, with him being a devil, he lost, like, his humanity. He's like, I'm eating good food. I have a house. I just want to touch some tits. This is great. Like, I'm okay with it. I liked it. But anyways, I got a little bit off track from Aki, and the reason I started talking about Makima was because Denji figured out that because Aki obviously didn't like him at the beginning. He's like, no, you just like Miss Makima. And then you get a little bit of a glimpse into who Denji is. Somebody who fights dirty, just kicks him right in the nuts. Aki then has a conversation with Denji about how you have to, like, it was something along the lines of, like, you have to be motivated. You have to have a true mission. You have to have a goal. And Denji's goal is to, honestly, again, 16-year-old, he wants to have his first experience with a woman. He wants to touch a woman's chest. But what I did actually like about it was it didn't end up being fulfilling for him. So that's why, again, like, I think this is a lot different from, like, Fire Force. Oh my god, like, oh, the pants are off, you know. That I really, really don't like. I don't like it when there's unnecessary shots to the chest and things like that. It takes me out of the moment. But this one, I thought it was done well. Like, you have to look at the type of character that Denji is. He is a homeless pervert. Right? He's a homeless, normal 16-year-old. It's normal for a 16-year-old kid, right? But anyways, we are then introduced to Power. It's explained to everybody that she's a fiend, and her and Denji end up working together. And actually, these two as a dynamic, guys, I was actually, like, almost chuckling to myself sometimes. And it's another thing where typically when they add that, like, that female character in the anime shows where they're, like, loud and obnoxious, like, oh my god, you know, like, it was one of those, but they were so stupid together, and I liked it. They were charismatic together. I liked that Aki was so annoyed with them. It just worked. But throughout the missions that they've been working on, they ended up going through one really quick mission. Denji was actually really annoyed with Power because Power, like, didn't flush a toilet, and the fiend just took over a corpse, right? She doesn't care. She just eats. She drinks blood. She doesn't flush a toilet, and she doesn't shower. So Denji was actually really annoyed with her, but what Power picked up on was Denji's interest in women. So, and I think she said something like that along the lines where it's like, oh, you humans are so easy to control. So she made a deal because her cat ended up getting kidnapped by the Bat Devil. And that was a very, very creepy devil, by the way. I really, really liked the devils that were in this show. So she goes up to Denji and she's like, hey, if you get my cat back, if you kill the Bat Devil, I'll let you touch my chest. And Denji, and again, this is why it made me laugh, because think about your 16-year-old self. Yes, ma'am. Let's go. Where's that Bat Devil? Like, and I liked it again because this didn't end up being fulfilling for Denji. But once we actually, and it gets from really stupid to like him and Power arguing and just Denji being horny to actually getting into a really, really, really dark story. They reach an abandoned house and Power ended up actually betraying him. And I was like, ooh. You know what? I didn't completely trust her because she was a devil, but I didn't expect that to happen. They ended up getting to the house, and she said, like, I don't remember what she said to him, but she ended up saying something to Denji, and then the bat was just there to get a taste of his blood. He needed to heal, and that's something that I didn't mention. Obviously, if you watch the show, devils heal themselves by drinking blood. The Bat Devil ended up hating the taste of Denji's blood, though, so he ends up eating the cat anyways. He ends up eating Power anyways, and this was very touching. This is the first time a devil like Power really felt something. because she actually had a connection to this cat. We had a little bit of a flashback, and I don't remember at what point she said this, but she ended up looking at Denji and saying, I get it. I get it. I can't imagine how you must have felt. And then you could see like them actually bonding just a little bit together, but Denji ended up living. He took out the Bat Devil in a really, really gory and a really cool fight. And again, the way the artwork was, and they didn't cheap out on like the animation of the gore too. All of it was really nice to watch. And then what I ended up liking about this as well is he was about to be okay, and he's like, hey, I did my job. I got the Bat Devil. I saved your cat. And it was a nice moment where he was actually able to save both of those, but just before he was able to get and finally end up touching a boob, he ended up getting his arm ripped off. He ended up having another devil attack, but Aki ended up coming in and saved the day, and Aki revealed that he did a contract with the Fox Devil. The Fox Devil is sick. That thing just showed up out of nowhere. Chomp, he's good. So what Makima ends up doing is, I don't remember why she ended up doing it, but all three of them ended up having to live together. Both Denji and Power ended up having to go to Aki's apartment and living there, and they were just causing chaos. Whenever Denji and Power were just chilling, that was like some of my favorite moments to watch. And Aki's such a serious guy, and he just wanted absolutely no part of it, but he has to follow orders, right? But at the end of the episode, Power ended up fulfilling her promise, and Denji got to fondle his first tit, and it was unfulfilling because what Denji really wanted was that human connection. Denji ended up perhaps growing a little bit. And again, that's why I enjoyed this particular, sexual part of the anime show. But then the show takes it up a little bit of a notch, and Denji starts explaining this to Makima, and Makima explains that you actually are longing for that human connection. So she ends up like teasing him a little bit, whispering into his ear, running her, I believe it was her thumb like along his lips or something. And then after doing all of that, she let Denji touch her. And of course, it's all planned by Makima, whatever she wants to end up doing. She has Denji wrapped around her fingers like this. And I do find that type of stuff fascinating, man. How much of us actually end up like falling to lust. So no matter how smart you are, you just can't really control that. And it takes a very special type of person to be able to control that. But Denji has a complete new sense of purpose now, and the person that he wants is Makima. And now at this point of the show, we learn about the Gun Devil. And the Gun Devil, and I don't remember what number they said, it was like millions of people they killed in like 15 seconds or whatever it was. It was just some like giant mass murder, and that seems to like be the big baddie of the show. So Makima wants Denji to take care of it, and she promised him to fulfill any wish that he desires if he were to take out the Gun Devil. Denji, of course, is okay with this now that he's completely been seduced, and he's like, anything? But now we're actually introduced to Himino, and that is the other, I guess you could say, love interest of the show. She promises a kiss to anybody who ends up succeeding in their next mission, which was going to the hotel. And I thought that hotel and the floor that they went on, stuck in an endless loop, was super cool. The way that they did that, I loved that. They were stuck in there infinitely, and what they wanted was Denji, but nobody knows why Denji is the person that all of these devil hunters seem to be interested in. And I wish I could break down that hotel episode a little bit more, but it was just really cool, like the tensions that they were building. They were going to starve to death, the stabbing that ended up happening, they figuring out that time stops, the eternity devil, and Denji figuring out that it actually felt pain, so he fought for 3 days straight and ended up getting the better of the eternity devil. After that, everybody, and we had a couple flashbacks too. We learned a little bit more about who Himino is, and I think this is the point where we learned about Aki and how he started smoking cigarettes. Their bond together, but after that, they all end up drunk, and Denji is finally going to get his first kiss, and this poor guy still has another horrible incident happen to him where he gets vomited into his mouth on his first kiss. It sucks, man, but again, it's showing Denji that maybe this isn't exactly what he wants. He wants to build some sort of human connection, but they only get more intoxicated as the night goes on. Himino ends up dragging him to her apartment. They're both so intoxicated, she offers to have sex with him, but at the end of the day, Denji refused it because he's saving himself at this point for Miss Makima. But unfortunately, after all that we learned about Himino, she died the next episode. She had a nice conversation with Denji. She was going to set him up with Makima, and he was going to set her up with Aki, and she ended up just, unfortunately, getting shot. There was another, and this is where the Gun Devil, I'm almost sure it was the Gun Devil. The Gun Devil orchestrated an attack against all of these devil hunters, and it was, again, there's really nothing I could break down about some of these fights. Like, it was a really, really cool fight scene. The only thing that we learned from it was Aki has a contract as well with the Cursed Devil, which is cutting his life short every single time that he uses this sword that he has, and so honestly, he shouldn't be using it. But all of the people working for the Gun Devil actually ended up capturing Denji, woke him up with the chainsaw cord, which was pretty cool. I have to be honest with you, making him a devil. He has, and I'm sorry, I might be getting my timelines mixed up here, but he had a cool fight with the Samurai Sword Devil and the guy who had the contract to the Samurai Sword Devil. Cool fights whenever that happened, but he was completely sliced in half. He was captured, and in the meantime, Makima was shot in the head. Didn't matter. So Makima is being slowly revealed to be one of those powerful characters in the show, and I don't know what to make of her because it's almost setting up to be like Makima's actually the villain of the entire show. I don't know if that's intentional or not. I don't know if that's going to be the case or if it's just like, okay, maybe we didn't know how powerful she actually was. But then she demanded a ritual, and then she used a bunch of death row inmates. Crazy. And I would imagine they die. Like, she made him sit down and say, hey, repeat this name, and then it's the name of the person that she's killing. And I love the uniqueness of this show and the way all the devils interacted. And I can't believe it because I was like, really? Chainsaw Man? Really? Chainsaw Man and the Samurai Sword guy are still my least favorite of the actual devil contracts, but it's fascinating. I've never seen anything like it in a show before. And now, like, Makima and the fear that was into him after all they were exploding, right? Makima was just like, all right, we're taking care of this. We're saving Denji. And she starts, like, squeezing. You can tell, like, just squeezing people. And, like, if she would do this, the body would do that. Or if she wanted to do this, the body would get crushed like that. It was fascinating. It was gory. It was horrible. It captivated me, man. Like, okay, Makima, whatever devil she has a contract with, that is a powerful, powerful, powerful character. So she's just killing a bunch of people, and everybody ended up freaking out. It was a horrible thing. People were just all of a sudden like exploding, getting squished. It was crazy, man. That was one of the coolest scenes in the entire show. So after all of that, Denji ended up being saved. We are now like looking at Makima in a completely different way, but Aki is stuck in the hospital after the battle, and he is really, really mourning the death of, I guess could you say his lover, because they weren't really a thing, but the sister ended up coming in, making him feel even worse. He revealed that he doesn't care about his life. He wants revenge. He wants a new devil. We put a pause on there because we got some more flashbacks too, and it was actually like, it was really cool the way the show really let you sit with emotions. Like, there wasn't always music, and it was just kind of like you really got dragged into what the characters were feeling sometimes. So you have Aki, who's a character where it's like you feel what he was feeling. He is mourning. He even the cigarette story was really nice, right? And then you have Denji and Power, who just completely don't care about people anymore. And Denji even acknowledged that. In the meantime, though, Denji and Power were brought from Makima to this really, really powerful devil hunter, which they needed to get better. They needed to improve because Denji was getting himself captured. He keeps brutalizing them over and over and over again. All of that was fun. Again, whenever Denji and Power are in the mix, I like them interacting. Makima just let them be. She's like, okay, we're going to take on this geezer. And then he just ended up killing them over and over and over again. So what they ended up doing was having an ambush attack, which saw a little bit of improvement in their fighting skills, but ultimately they were still overpowered again. Cut back to Aki, and he is having a new contract with a brand new devil. And I am kind of looking forward to, kind of not looking forward to the answer to this question, because it is the future devil who offers him his power because he just wants to watch, because he knows and he can see the future that Aki is going to go out in the worst possible way. With the way that this show's going, I have no idea what that could possibly be, and I almost don't want to know. Then all the devil hunters start their final mission, and I think the big takeaway from over here, actually, to be honest with you, it wasn't Denji's final fight. I actually like Aki's final fight. With him fighting the ghost devil with the new future devil, you can actually see a little bit into the future and see what's going to happen, but he ended up getting overwhelmed because the ghost devil relied on fear, and if he lets go of his fear, then he can actually walk forward. And I found the entire way that they presented that, and not, it's like me saying it, it doesn't encapsulate how cool it was. Like, I loved watching him actually getting over that, remembering everything that there was to remember, actually letting go of his fear, looking into the future, and he is now a very, very, very dangerous devil hunter. I thought he was the shining moment of that last episode. But Denji ended up taking on the Samurai Sword Devil, and it was a really good fight there. Denji was getting pieced up, but he ended up winning the fight, and in classic Denji fashion, and it's crazy that Aki actually ended up being okay with this. Denji's like, hey, let's have a testicle kicking contest, and they just wanted to torture this guy, which understandably so, to be honest with you. But the season comes to a close with Makima being able to pinpoint the Gun Devil's location. I don't know how many seasons they're going to go, and If you happen to watch or read the manga of the show, don't spoil it. I don't want to know about it because I've really enjoyed watching this show. And we're closing off the season with Denji in a dream where the Chainsaw Devil tells him not to open the door, but you hear a woman behind the door asking Denji, would you rather be a country mouse or a city mouse, which was really weird. I don't know what to make of that, and I'm not going to look up. I have this thing where I don't look up anything about the shows that I'm watching because I'm going to definitely run into a spoiler, so I have no idea what that could mean, but it is very interesting nonetheless, guys. This was a shockingly good series. I thought the idea of a Chainsaw Man was stupid, and I can't believe I liked it as much as I did. I will say, it is overhyped. People are talking about it like this is one of the best anime shows ever. It's not. It was just very good. And I can't wait. It was very unique. I can't wait to watch a second season. Let me know what you thought about everything down below. Thank you so much for watching. But why don't you check out one of the best anime shows in the world? I did a review for the season 1 of Attack on Titan. You can watch that right here. And I would love to have you over there. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care, guys.